So, hi everybody, welcome to yet another podcast of Byte Ventures. Here with us, we have Daniel from Hungary. So he has been a great engineer on that front. He has some amazing courses on test-driven development. He has been an absolute fanatic on the test-driven development, making sure the software engineers write better software codes all the time. So, welcome Daniel to the show, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, and thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for introduction. Yeah, my name is Daniel Moka. I'm a software crafter and coach, helping teams and individuals to produce quality software. And yeah, I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn lately, and I'm sharing my nuggets of wisdoms and knowledge about testing, clean code, TD, and everything what I can. So I'm happy to help people to produce high quality software solutions.
Awesome. That's great. So coming from Hungary, that's a very interesting thing. So I don't have a lot of friends, not a lot of people who have met from Hungary. So tell me a little bit about Hungary. Like on the tech front, a little bit on the generic side, then we'll dive deep in.
Okay. Yeah, Hungary is in Central Europe, so it's a beautiful country with a lot of people. I mean, yeah, sort of 10 million people, a bit less. Budapest, I bet you know Budapest. You know,
Yeah,
it's
Budapest, I know. Yeah.
one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, or at least according to the tourists. Tech side, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of software companies, obviously, but personally, I always worked with foreigners. And also in the past 10 years, I always worked for foreign, companies from outside Hungary. But apart from that, yeah, the engineers I know, from Hungary, they are pretty good. So they produce high quality software, and they also have a very good friend. Actually, he was a mentee of mine, so I was mentoring him. I took a chance to mentor him back then, 7 years ago, I guess. And it turned out to be very successful because he launched his own business. He's now a sort of CEO of that business. He's a lead of many software engineer teams. So I'm happy to see this progress, that I could have an impact someone in Hungary. So yeah, so the people I know from Hungary, they are really good. But as I said, I always work for people outside Hungary. So therefore, I have less insights in the Hungarian software engineering, nature and the
Okay,
culture.
that's great. You are a huge proponent of that. So what exactly started, and what made you decide that this is something you're going to work on?
Great question. Well, test-driven development represents three things to me. First of all, is a development approach, because it has a TDD cycle and the three laws of TDD. I guess you heard about the TDD cycle, or many of the viewers heard about the TDD cycle, the red, green, and refactor cycle. So you write a failing test, you make it pass, and refactor your code, and you keep repeating this cycle. So first of all, it provides a development framework. Second of all, it's a design methodology. So it helps you to write code with good user experience, and also with the clean code, because what you effectively do in the refactor phase of TDD, that you grow the design by practicing continuous refactoring. And last but not least is also a testing approach for me, because if you follow TDD and you follow it well, you end up with a code base that has a 100% code coverage and also 100% behavior coverage, or mutation score, we can call it like that. So it means all the business logic will be 100% covered by your test. So it's a byproduct of TDD. So because of these three things, and I realized that how powerful it is, and I'm a better developer if I use TDD than without. So I got to know it back then. I don't know, since, I like 10 years ago. I was not all in at that time, but I started using it. I started feeling its benefits. But the more I use, I realized, oh my God, it has a lot of advantages compared to Tesla's development. So, and you cannot achieve. So it's writing code in TDD is sort of faster, cheaper, and safer. So that's why I use it.
Okay, that's great. But what about other forms of testing rather? Because I have learned about driven design, and there are like some kind of testing related to behaviors as well. And there
Yeah,
are, yeah, go ahead.
exactly. Exactly, yeah. There is this behavior-driven development, and there's a lot of teams who are using this gherkin and cucumber, and they specify they test with these with these technologies. They write sort of layers of acceptance tests, and after that they let the developers implement those. I don't think it's a very good approach. I mean, behavior. So what you do? So if you do TDD well, that's also behavior-driven development, because
Okay.
there are two kind of schools of TDD. When you have the classicist and you have the Mokist. So you have the classicist is Chicago. It's called the Chicago style of testing or TDD, and you have the London school of TDD. And the Chicago school of TDD, you focus on behaviors, and the London school you focus on verifying interactions.
Okay.
Both of them have the advantages and disadvantages, but still the bigger winner, and that's what I see as the biggest winner, across the world, that the more teams are using the classicist school of TDD, it means we are focusing on behavior. So it's also behavior-driven development in some sense, because we focus on the behavior, we specify it in a test, and after that we implement it. But of course, in a London school, you focus on more on the code structure, classes, what are the collaborators, what are the interactions between the collaborators. So I don't say that's I can say that it's a worse approach, because you couple your test to the implementation details. Your test will become fragile, and when you do TDD, you need to refactor a lot. And if you have fragile tests, you don't want to. It's not like when you have a fragile test, then they will keep breaking when you refactor your code, and you don't want that. So, but answering to your question, because it's a sidetracked a bit. So yeah, we have this behavior-driven development and acceptance test-driven development, where really specify the high-level things, which is sort of the accepted by the by the users. Then when it's fine, we are happy to ship. But I would say, so the TDD. So here is the thing. So TDD won't tell you how to test your software. It will give you feedback, a lot of feedback, which is a good one. But it won't tell you how to test your software. It won't tell you how to write clean code. It won't tell you whether you have a code smell or not. It won't tell you which design pattern to use. Okay, so TDD gives this development framework with these design aspects and also with the testing benefits. But in order to apply it efficiently, and then you would need proper software engineering and software design skills, such as clean code, writing clean test, design patterns, when to use which, how to mock well, and all these things. And if you don't know this, TDD won't help. So that's what I would say about this. So surely, in order to apply TDD well, you need to know software design well, and also good testing practices. And if you don't know this, then TDD won't work. And that's what usually happens in teams, that they try to adopt TDD. Okay, let's do it. Let's write a failing test. Let's make it pass. Let's refactor. They try to follow the cycle, but they don't know how to write clean tests. Or even if they have some knowledge, they write tests which are coupled to implementation details, and they will break. So the test will become a burden sooner or later. So they say, let's discard this test-driven development. It doesn't work for us. But it just doesn't work because, it's like, when there is a saying, when a duck cannot swim in a lake, then don't blame the lake, right? So,
okay, very interesting perspective. Like, when a duck can't swim in the lake, don't blame the lake. Okay, so it's like people who are writing softwares, they don't know the exact principles, and they say that test-driven development will fix everything, but that doesn't, because you need other aspects of software development to make it work. Okay,
absolutely,
awesome.
On point.
There was a very interesting thing in your profile that I mentioned, which was like craftsmanship. You have given a lot of importance to craftsmanship. Even your role was like software craftsman, something related to that, I think. So what exactly is craftsmanship for you? And how do you define a software craftsman?
Excellent question. So I would say software craftsmanship is a way of doing the work with the highest quality, while also striving for continuous improvement and tech excellence, with the ultimate goal of making the customers happy. So because it's also like, there are also other craftsmanship. So software engineering is not the only one, right? We have the old-fashioned, carpenters and all these things, from the past, and they were called. These were the professions, like carpenter were called, or still called, craftsmanship, craftsmen. They are the craftsman who is doing these things, and they, you can do it well or you can do it poorly. And software craftsmanship I usually use for the people, software crafters or software craftsmen or craft women. We can, we can call people software crafters if they really care about the customer with a high quality software. Because so if you really care about the customer, you need to really care about the quality of the product. Because if you don't produce quality software, then sooner or later it will you will shoot yourself in the foot. It will bite you back. Because the thing is, you cannot be agile if your code sucks. Sorry to say this, but so you need to have high quality code to go fast, to deliver value to the customer, to make the customers happy. Because otherwise, if you have a poorly written software, then you cannot deliver every 2 or 3 days. So the customer will keep waiting. They will be impatient, or you introduce bugs because the code is not tested. So you can easily introduce a regression bug, and the customer will notice it, and they won't be happy, and they pay for you. So software craftsmanship for me is caring about the quality of the product we produce, with the mind that the customer is the most important part of this relationship.
Awesome. That's a great perspective. Yeah, it's important to focus on quality right now, because at the end of the day, you are building for someone else, right? And if they're not happy with the quality, if they're not happy with the pace of the product, then I think they will somehow feel that, okay, my money is kind of getting wasted somewhere like that. So great perspective. Go ahead.
I mean, exactly. Internal quality has a big impact on external quality. And that's what people say. Yeah, there are also LinkedIn posts and Twitter everywhere that, the customer doesn't care if the software is written in PHP, Java, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it doesn't care directly, but it cares indirectly. It cares about this because, if it's really poorly written, and as I already mentioned, you cannot deliver value within a few days, then customer will care about that. Okay. But at the beginning, of course, they don't care about directly what technology you use. They want the solution. They want to achieve, their goals. And if they can achieve it, and whether you solve it with JavaScript or Java or C#, they don't care really. But how you use these tools to make the product which helps them to achieve their goal, that's really important. A lot of people neglect that.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective. Okay, let's moving on to the next section, which is the Moka IT Services. You have a consulting company. So why don't you describe a little bit about what you do as part of the consulting company? How big are your customers? How do you manage stuff and the things around that?
Exactly. Yeah, I have a big customer right now. It's been a long time, and I'm working for them, and we are acting as a team. So I'm a software crafter there. So I'm also part of the team, and we act really good. We form a really good team, and we work together on a great product, and trying to make the customers happy. And basically, that's my main client, mainly. But apart from that, I am sort of, helping teams, helping people, through social media, individuals. I made the course. I have the newsletter over there. I have some sponsors. So that's my sort of side part of this. But apart from that, I have this main client, and I'm super happy with them. They are cool people, and also I get a good opportunity to learn Rust. So I knew it before, but not not professionally, or I haven't used it in a very big project. What we are involved lately, and it's just amazing experience. I love Rust. It's a very good language, and so that's what I'm doing.
Moving on, so you have had varied experiences in tech. You have had work with a couple of companies. So why don't you describe your experiences in that, and what led to the creation of Tech IT in the first place?
Yeah, so what led me to the IT? So namely, I'm a civil engineer,
Okay.
I graduated as a civil engineer. I have a bachelor and a master degree. Actually, I'm specialized in indoor navigation, so
Mm-hmm.
programming robots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great field. And after that, I realized, okay, I mean, in order to program robots, in order to do digital maps. So because I'm as a civil engineer, but my specialization is indoor navigation and creating digital maps. And in order to create such services or such programs which can control robots or digital maps, then you need proper software engineering skills. And I realized I don't have. I got some help, so I get some good teachers, but it was not strictly taught in the university for us to do programming. Okay, I needed
Yep.
to attend to some special classes, find some teachers who could help me. So, but I realized, okay, so let's learn it, and I realized, wow, I love it. I love this software engineering. My first language was Java back then, and I was really impressed how cool it is to make something from basically thin air, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
from thin air, you make something which works. So I was impressed by the first keystrokes and the first hello world, the Java program so much. Then I felt, oh my God, there is something to do with it. It was 12 years ago or even more. It was more than 12 years ago, 13. And I felt, oh my God, I need to do something with it. So after that I graduated, I was looking for a company who could help. I was looking for a software company and got a chance to go to Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
A very good company. I'm super grateful for them because over there I was involved with, I was surrounded by a lot of great engineers
Mm-hmm.
who were also passionate. Some of them, or many of them, were passionate about clean code, Uncle Bob, and this
Yeah.
TDD. I was introduced these ideas really early in my career. So and since then I just fell in love in this profession. I'm just keep pushing it, and since up today, I love this. So I love what I'm doing. I like writing code. I like to be a product minded engineer, and of course talk to the customer.
Okay, great. So I think you have some fabulous experience on that side.
Okay.
So if I could ask you some questions on like, what do you think separates people who can write better tests or better software? What would it be?
Good question. I think the one thing would be the testing. So testing won't solve all your problems, but that's what differentiates between good. First, from the tech side, we can talk about
Yeah,
after that the soft skills, which is even more important. But the
yeah.
tech side, surely testing skills. And this testing is not just about, okay, unit tests, but how to write clean unit tests, maintainable unit tests, integration testing, the proper testing pyramid. But not only the pyramid, you have also the diamond. So why do we have two? Okay, which one to use, when to use which? And also you have mutation testing, you have property-based testing. A lot of people never heard of it. Or how to, let's say you have a lot, there are a lot of legacy code base, and basically there are much more legacy code base than green project. So but people don't know how to handle those, how to work with legacy project, how to refactor it. So they don't touch it, they don't improve it, they try to work around it. And actually it's not you need skills, but in order to work with legacy project efficiently and to refactor it and to extend it well or efficiently, you need proper testing skills. And now it comes to the surely the mutation testing, approval testing, characterization test, and these things. I don't know. When I talk about these topics on LinkedIn, other places, a lot of people say they never heard of this. But most of the projects are legacy projects. It means you should use these testing technologies in order to improve your project. But they don't even know it. So I would say this really separates a good and a great developer for me if they know these practices and if they
Mhm.
know how to use it. It's not a rocket science. It's just a few testing practices which gives you confidence in your code, and that's all about, right? We want to be confident the code is working so we can ship it to the customer, so we can make them happy. So it's all about confidence. So I would say testing surely one thing, of course.
Mhm.
Writing clean code and design patterns also important, that code smells are really important. But I would say this testing, I realize if someone goes all in testing skills, like, okay, let's really master everything, then that person will be a great developer regardless. Of course, you need soft skills. We will talk about it. But from the tech side, that person will be appreciated in the team because it's a knowledge it's knowledge you don't always see in every people. And that's
Yeah.
also during my career I seen, of course I also learned this, but somehow I realized I always outstanded with this knowledge. And as I said, it's not a rocket science. It's just a few. It's a group of practices you need to know, like TDD, mutation testing, approval testing, characterization testing, and such things, like 4, 5, or 6 of them. And if you know these, then it really gives you big confidence. And when you are in a team, then you can be a great asset to that team.
Okay, great. And what about soft skills?
Absolutely. So personally, or in my career, and whenever we needed to hire a person for a project, or I was involved in an interview, personally, I never really cared which language or framework the person used. I always asked how they test their software. That was one of the questions. When you ask how they test their software, then they really give you the answers that you might want to hear or not.
Mm-hmm.
But surely the other side, I don't care which language or framework you use. All I care is that they have empathy for others, they have curiosity to learn whatever
Mm-hmm.
it takes to solve the customer problems, and they are kind to others. And because these are the soft skills which are very difficult to teach someone. So you cannot
Right.
teach others to be empathetic. You cannot tell that you can tell them, hey, be more kind to others, or hey, be aware that person has some feeling, or that person has a bad day, or that person is slower than you, so you need to adapt to him or her. So you can tell them, but you need to feel this. You need to have this consciousness. You need to have high emotional intelligence to understand how to adapt to situations, how to treat people. And if you don't have that, then you will have a difficult life in a team. So I would say these are the most important things, like being kind, being empathetic, treat people well, and have curiosity. If you have these things like empathy, kindness, and curiosity, then you can teach everything to that person. So again, when I interview someone, I don't care which language or framework you use. I care about these skills. And if it's given, if I really understand, if I challenge them with questions, I have some questions in mind what I can ask. If I challenge them and I feel their emotional intelligence and it's good, then I hire them. Because after that, you can teach them everything and they can learn quickly. But if you have, let's see the other side of the coin. If you have a person who is super good in C# or .NET development, really he has the best tech skills. He's really the greatest of all time in tech. But he's a rude person you would never want to work with, and he cannot treat people, and he's always rude and impatient and all these things. Then again, this person will have a difficult life in that team. So therefore, I would never want to work with that person. I'm much more happier to work with a person who is kind and treat people well, empathetic, because we can teach them everything. But you cannot teach a jerk, or someone who is
Yeah.
egoist and all these people. Difficult to treat them, difficult to have them in the team. And I met such people. So therefore, this is what I would say. So soft skills. Surely these are the three things I value way much more than tech skills. But you need tech skills. So again, soft skills are not enough. You need curiosity. Curiosity you need in the software engineering, because it's always learning. It's a continuous learning process. The industry evolves so rapidly, right? Especially nowadays with the AI. So it evolves so rapidly, but you can see the JavaScript frameworks and everything in the last years. It evolves so rapidly that we should hire people for not what they know, but we should hire them for what they would be willing to learn, because it's rapid so
Okay.
much. So the knowledge you have, the tech skills you have today, the specific test skills, frameworks, languages, and all these details, won't be useful in a few years, because there will be other things, the framework will change and all these things. But if you have the good soft skills, if you have the curiosity, then you will be curious, or the given person will be curious to learn the given thing. So that's a great developer to work with.
Great. That's a very interesting perspective. That okay, soft skills is important, tech skills is important. The things that you focus on while hiring. I would love to know that sometimes when I talk to you more, but that's for the next episode sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Coming back to your profile. So I saw a couple of papers, like research papers you have worked on. So do you still write them, or Not much.
Research papers.
Yeah, so I saw a couple of scientific student association conference awards, thesis award by Hungarian Chambers of Students. I saw a couple of awards in your.
Yeah. That was back then. Yeah. You saw my CV, I guess, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was back then. Actually, that was back then, 2000. I don't know.
Thirteen,
It was 15.
15. Yeah,
15. So that was back
15ish.
then. Yeah, that was the part. I had a good topic for my theses. For my bachelor and master, and of course, I participated on these, and I wrote these papers, and yeah, they went very well. I don't know, I won the second one in one other first within the university, so it was really good. But lately, no, I don't write those papers, because these are mainly for, when you are a teacher in a university, you are really heavy on these papers, because that's how you can get a PhD. But after that,
Yeah.
I was asked to stay in the university, but I would have been happy to stay. But I felt somehow deep inside that I need to go to the field. I need to go abroad. I went to Netherlands, and I need to work in the field. So I didn't stay. I don't write it. But for example, within a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, in October 7, I was invited to Spain now, to Bilbao, to talk about mutation testing and test development in a Q&A/test embedded conference 2024. So I'm happy to be there and have a session about mutation testing. So I'm doing these participations.
Awesome. I will attach the link in the description just so that people who are attending might say you hi. Because
okay.
yeah, that'll be great. Okay, let's talk a little bit about AI. So you mentioned a little bit about AI, that how it kind of obsolete things. So how do you think is your adoption of AI? What are the things that have made your life much simpler, or what are your perspectives?
It's crazy. I use AI. I have 2 AI products subscribed, surely, ChatGPT and Claude. Both of them are good. And I use it daily, and I use it for everything. So I'm using it surely for software engineering, so generating code, or I would say rather giving me inspiration. So the Copilot, I don't find Copilot so useful for backend, for the domain I'm working. But for example, for front-end development, for simple web APIs, yeah, it's really good. But for when you really, when the domain is really deep, still not that good. But answering to your question, yeah, AI is impressive. I use it daily, and but mainly for inspiration. But for example, if there is lately I had some challenging hashing cryptographic problem, and I never heard how to solve. I had no clue how to solve it. I had some problems with some terminologies, and I just gave it to him, and in 5 minutes explained everything and gave me the solution, like 10 lines of code, and it was working, still working, and it was the proper solution. And I could have spent, I don't know, 1-2 days if I would have needed to collect this information. So it saves a lot of time. So I would say mainly for inspiration, but I am talking with it regularly, also for other cases, generating things, emails, how to express myself in the most impactful way in emails or in other places. But even if I have some small ideas, so the good thing with this ChatGPT, that really collects, all the information from the internet. And if you don't have it, the Google, it just listed all the information of the internet, right? It give you a list of this, collects to you, and aggregates it. Of course, it's a predictive. You have this predictive. Basically, it predicts the answer to your writing. So that's what it does. Yeah. It doesn't really understand, they say, but I'm not an expert in this. How these LLMs work really deep down, but it just predicts what you say. But still, it aggregates the sort of all the information of the internet, and it does it really well. And day by day, it's getting better. And where we are going, yeah, it's insane. I would say the world will change a lot in the next 5-10 years. Software engineering space, surely we need to use this, and we are using it, and they can give you really good results. They save you time. It 10x's you. That's a sure thing. But this AI and all these technologies, because of the AI, also the learning and finding cure for cancer, hopefully soon will be solved, because we never had a solution how to cure cancer, or at least publicly. Surely not. So, but not only this, but also the robotics. The robots are coming. Elon Musk are, manufacturing all these robots. I don't know, they now reached 1 million or 10 million. I don't know, a huge number, and they keep producing. And it's not only company. And I would say within a few years, in every household, there will be robots doing some houseworks. And it sounds a bit, oh yeah, it's not that far away. And at the beginning, I'm a skeptical guy. I was skeptical at the beginning as well. And I'm still questioning. So, if you have a sort of, if you also software engineering, I think you will learn that you need to keep questioning your knowledge all the time. If you say TDD is the best software engineering practice, still every day you have to keep asking the question: is it still, or is it still the best right now in this context, or is this design pattern is the best? So you have to keep questioning, ask the why. And I was skeptical at the beginning with this AI because of I liked it. But the more I read about and more I see results, I see it's crazy. It advances exponentially, and that's the deal. That's what we cannot. And it's not like, okay, we have a tech and it's improving, like web development, or front end development. You have the linearly, it's improving. You have exponentially, and the technology advances exponentially, so it can result in more abundance. Hopefully, we will see. So I don't know that. I'm, as I said, I'm not. It's not my expertise, but what I see. I mean, also, if I look at my daily work, the AI really helps a lot. And that's why I'm subscribed for 2 products. I'm using them daily, and I'm using for everything. So it's became my assistant, I would say.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, thank you so much, Daniel, for joining all the way from Hungary. I really appreciate it. So going forward, just last question. So any final tips or recommendations you want to give to people or listeners who are listening to this podcast?
Final recommendation. Yeah, I would say have 2. So I already covered these 2 things. First of all, learn about quality testing. So really, how to write tests well. What are the best methodologies to use in legacy code base? Because once you wrote your code, after the first day, it became a legacy. So you need to keep updating and need to handle it. So learn about proper testing skills, because it will give you a lot of confidence, which can help you both delivering value to your customer and for your career. Because when you are confident, you can say, hey, you can, if you can sell yourself confidently, then you can outstand from the crowd, also for interview, but also in the job. So I would say this. Other than is be kind to others. So it's a crazy world we are living in. It's fast-paced world. Also after the COVID, everyone is stressful. Became more stressful than 4 years ago. And you never know what's going in your colleagues' lives. So be conscious about this and be kind to others, because you never know. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you joining, spending time with me. And I hope this will inspire people to learn more about testing, and we'll be able to spread more word about test-driven development and all the other things that you said. I'll attach all of your links in the description. So make sure you follow him and say hi in October, the conference that is happening in Spain, if people are attending that. So great. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you too. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. It was really nice, actually.
Thank you.